Welcome to the Power Factor Show.
The bandwidth for this episode of the Power Factor Show is brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network, firearmsradio.tv.
Sponsored by Taylor Freelance, Rainier Ballistics, Hodgdon Powders, and JPL Precision.
Hi, welcome to Power Factor. I'm Larry, and we've got a match review. A lot of you guys have been requesting watching us, get some videos of us shooting. So this is the first match we had of the year at Marysville Rifle Club. I took like 3 months off basically for the winter. The last match I shot was the same club back in November, so mid to late November, December, January, February. So this is mid to late February when we had this match. So I think a lot of us were feeling pretty rusty, and therefore we named the match Feeling Rusty. So if you want to see any details about this match and look at any details of my performance, you can head over to practicescore.com. We're using electronic scoring these days. We've been doing that for quite a while, and we're actually helping Ken Nelson, our club, and guys at our club are helping, or had been helping Ken Nelson kind of get the electronic scoring going. So we've been doing it for, gosh, at least a year and a half, maybe since about 2012, I would say, or 2011 maybe even. So it's now finally ready for prime time. I know a lot of clubs have been using it, and it's really cool. It's a really good way to run the scoring electronically on your little tablets and stuff. So that's what our club's been doing. So like I say, head over to practicescore.com, and on match results, search for the title Feeling Rusty, and you'll find this match. So this was, like I said, our first match of the season, and we're gonna go through, I've got videos from the hat cam. We had 6 stages. The last stage was a classifier, and I'll be going through my spreadsheet, which, okay, let's see, about episode 98 maybe sticks out in my mind. Maybe that's when it was, when I talked about tracking your match performance, and Rick and I were on that episode discussing how to track match performance and how I do it, and I use this spreadsheet, which we will throw up on the screen at the end of all these videos, and then you can pause the video if you want to look at any details. We'll throw it up for a few seconds. So let's get going here. The very first stage, stage 1. This is it's one of these memory courses where we've got several walls, several ports in the walls, and barrels beyond the walls, and then targets beyond the barrels. So you're never sure which target you found from which window. Are you re-engaging? Did you forget anything? It usually takes the entire 5-minute walkthrough to figure it out, and if you're the first shooter, too bad for you. That's just a tough place to be on one of these stages. So let's watch this one, and we'll discuss.
Are you ready? Stand by.
Okay. So that was our stage 1. You could see I was shooting pretty slow. I think I got on that first target pretty quick, but then every time I came to a port, I was kind of hunting around. Where's that target? Okay, where's the target? So here's a tip for you. What I did to figure this one out was go around behind and go stand at the targets. Instead of just trying to plan your stage from the shooting positions, from behind the ports in this case, go walk over there and stand by the targets. And that's what I do a lot on these memory stages. I go stand by every target and say, which port can I see this target from? I'll stand right behind it and see which ports are visible from this target. And I'll go over to T2 and I'll see which ports can I see from T2. And I did that on this stage, and I figured out that conveniently, I could see one target from port 1, 2 targets from port 2, 3 targets from port 3, 4 targets from port 4, and then there was 1 target and then 1 more target on the last 2 ports. So that was a good way to remember which targets I was shooting. There were other ways of doing it. I saw other people do it different ways. There you could see, I don't know what you could see. You could see different things from different ports, but that's the way I put it in my mind. And I mean, the shots were not difficult. As you can see, the targets weren't that far away. So the main thing was really just keeping your head clear and remembering where to be and where to place your feet. Now, I wasn't so great at positioning myself. I would come up to a port and then maybe kind of start looking around and, oh, there's a target, and then, oh yeah, there's a target. But I didn't have a whole lot of time to work on that, but at least I remember where all the targets were and did not re-engage anything on that one. So just a quick look at the spreadsheet here. I was second place on that stage. There was 18 shooters. I was shooting the Glock 35 in limited division. So there was 18 shooters in limited, and I was second place, a 7 hit factor versus an 8.8 for the stage winner. So he was much more fluid. I had slightly more points, but slower time. So let's take a look at stage 2. Stage 2 was, as you will see, there's a bunch of walls and there's openings in the walls and a bunch of steel at the end that I had some trouble with. You'll see that. We start here in box A. You can see box A as I looked at my feet there.
Are you ready? Stand by.
It's wide open targets. I made up a shot. Make my reload.
God damn.
So I had some trouble with the steel there. I was just doing my usual hoser spraying and praying. I mean, the first 2 steel went down so easy. I'm like, well, hey, I got this. I'm seeing my sights and I'm riding those sights and bing, bing, bing. And I thought I had them, and I made it from left to right the first pass, and half the targets were still standing. I had to come back a couple times, and could have been better. Could have shaved some time off of that. Some people on this one went from the first position to the second position and then made the third position the steel and then finished up with the fourth position. I actually I stepped it off both ways, kind of at my full speed, and counted my steps from position the second position over to the third position, whether it was going to be the steel or the paper targets on the right. It was the same number of footsteps, so I just figured I'd rather finish up on the steel. And so I just did it that way. There was half the people did it the opposite way and went from the steel and then over to the paper. So that stage, not as good. I was 6th place on that one. 117 points, 119 was the match or the division winner. So I had 89%, 90% of the points that he made. But again, I was slower, 18.5 seconds versus 15 and change. So anyway, that's, I definitely could have shaved some time off of that one. And what hurt me most was the misses on the steel. Otherwise, I think I had a miss apparently somewhere too. I'm just looking at my spreadsheet here. There's a miss there with the negative 10 points. So too bad for me. But again, like I said, I haven't even really touched my gun much. A little bit of dry fire over the winter time, but my first live fire in 3 months. So, okay, taking a look at stage 3. This is another one that you'll see I lost a bunch of time trying to hit some plates and get into some awkward positions. The start position was standing with your back against the wall, and there was a vertical piece of tape on the wall, and you'll see the RO coaching me move over to my left a little bit to get centered up on the tape. I was asking him, am I centered? You know, I want that tape. When I was officiating, I wanted to see that tape come straight up out of, you know, the center of their head, so I knew they were centered on the tape. And there was a start position on either side of the bay in this one. So let's take a look at this.
There you go.
I'll put links to this fan page.
Stand by.
So this is a turn and draw and some real hard lean, real awkward. A lot of people were skimming shots off the barrel. And again, a real hard lean here to get not only the final steel, but the final paper as well.
Clear side forward, hammer down in, holster. Range is clear.
And the lighting conditions were tough as well. You know, you could see those back, the back corner, they were pretty dark back there and hard to find the targets a little bit. So on top of the hard positions, that added some time to my run as well. So you know, I'd shot 95% of the points of the stage winner, but my time was horrid, 60% on my spreadsheet of his time. So, or he shot 60% of my time is how it works. So he ran 15 seconds and I had 24 and change. That put me at 6th for that stage. Let's just move on to, there's not much more I can comment about that one. Move on to stage 4. Now, this was an interesting stage. During setup, we had some issues with new rules, and we'll be doing another episode on new rules. But in a sense, now with long courses, we cannot designate where targets are to be shot. From area A, area B, shoot the steel only from area A is what we were trying to do. And you'll see when we get started here, there's a large shooting area that we're starting in, and we scratched our heads and tried to figure out the best way around this with the new rules. And this is not, it's new, but what's new about it is it's required for level 1 matches also. It's kind of the same as what's been required for level 2 and level 3 matches. Your bigger sectional and area and national matches where you cannot, if you can see a target, you can shoot it. So that's basically how it boils down is if I'm in the shooting area and I can see a target, you cannot disallow me from shooting it in a long course of fire. So this being a long course, what we did was we just said, you know what, all right, so instead of shooting the steel from back here in box A, now it's just start in box A and shoot them as you see them. So let's take a look at this one. Let's see.
Are you ready? Am I?
So I hit the steel pretty good, and then I come over here to check. Oh, I see one, and oh crap, I see another one.
I was like, don't do it.
Yeah, I should not have done that, but I hate leaving targets not non-engaged, but I hate seeing misses and not making them up. I know it was the total wrong thing to do, and I burned about 3 seconds before I realized. 3 or 4 seconds before I realized I just like, screw it. And this is, first match of the year, again, feeling rusty, just shoot it. I don't know, I shouldn't have done it. I could have had a better score had I not done that. So, actually, yeah, so what I did was, well, all right, first of all, let's talk about the steel. So, like I said, at first, the idea with the stage designer was to have shot the steel from way back at the start position, but now we can't do that. So you'll see there's a red board on the ground, and we just call that our steel DQ line. There is no such thing in the rule book as a steel DQ line, but at our club we lay these boards down that says steel DQ, and they're painted red, and that's just so that So the RO can tell if you fault the line, if you cross a fault line and shoot steel, the RO needs to somehow mark the ground where you shot it from if it's at all in question, if you were too close to that steel when you engaged it. 23 feet is the rule. If you're any closer than 23 feet, that's an automatic disqualification. So at our club, we lay these boards down to indicate that's 23 feet from the steel, just so it's clear to everybody where that line is. So because of the way we had to change up the way the stage is shot, pretty much everybody ran up to that line and shot the steel from that line. And as you can see, I did fairly well on the steel. I don't know why I missed that one little mini popper I had to come back for, but otherwise I did fairly well on the steel. And then the targets through the port, I mean, I put, you see there was a, 2 stacked targets, and there was just one single piece of black tape around the border. And I put a shot right in the middle of that black tape, and I was like, really? I didn't break the tape? Like, gosh. So that was my final shot and made up that shot. I did some math, which you'll see here on our spreadsheet when we throw it up at the end of the episode here. I did some checking on the video. My shooting started at about whatever time it started, and I figured up about 17 seconds worth of shooting instead of what the timer really said, which was almost 22 seconds. So I had like almost 5 seconds of wasted time there when I made up this shot and I made up that shot. And so this is where I do my analysis. Like, what if I would have made that shot and not had to make it up? And instead of a 4.7 hit factor, my hit factor would have been more like 6. So there's an example of what not to do. I know you hate missing targets, but by the time I saw the miss, between the targets through this port, the targets through that port, I was kind of checking the targets and saw the one shot right in the black tape and made it up, and would have been better off if I didn't make it up. So this stage, because of that, I was 9th place. Again, there was 18 shooters in the division, and my worst stage of the match by far. My stage percentage was 59 on that one. So alrighty, let's see. Let's move on to stage 5.
Ready.
And stage 5 had a bunch of walls, a bunch of ports. Everything was shot through ports, and there was a kind of a guillotine port where you pull on the rope and it raises up the port, and that forces you to shoot one-handed. You pull the rope and shoot one-handed. Some people will still get the rope wrapped up and try and engage targets with 2 hands, but
hammer down, holster.
There was only 3 targets through the port, and they weren't that far away, so I chose to go strong hand only. And most of the time I will do that. I almost never try to grab the rope so high that it's where I want it to be at my shooting height, because there's so many things that can go wrong, in my opinion. I mean, what if you didn't grab at the right point, and to get the port high enough, you have to, you get the rope and you bring it up to your gun, and then the port's not open enough, so you have to pull down with both hands, and now you're moving your gun into a position that you don't want it to be in. So the best tip there is just get proficient at shooting strong hand only, and these things won't get you tripped up too bad. So let's watch the video of this one, and then I'll talk about something I did wrong here.
All right, ready. Stand by.
Okay, so the main thing I did wrong there was during my walkthrough, I was testing out, made a couple walkthroughs, and I was testing out this opening of the port, pulling the rope, and at full speed, come up to the port, dry fire, no gun in my hand, just empty hand, just go through the motions, and I let go of the rope and I run to the next port. And you'll see, if you play that video again, if you rewind, you'll see that when I came up to the port, the rope was like up over the wall, just about. So I really screwed myself by, in my walkthrough, when I let go of the port, it fell down and yanked the rope up and flipped it up halfway over the wall. So as I'm coming up and the rope's not there, and I look up and I realize that it's up at the top of the wall. I had to actually had to jump off the ground to snag the rope and pull down on it to get the port opened up. So pay attention to those kinds of things on the stage. Make sure the stage is completely reset. This is a message, I guess, to the shooter. In my case, when I kind of screwed myself on that one, but also as a message to the RO, take a look around and make sure the stage is completely reset for everybody, that everybody has the same competitive equity, if you will. So everything's got to be set the same for every shooter. So, and that's a big deal in all levels of competition, but especially level 2 and 3 matches. That's when you have ROs assigned to the stage. That's what part of their checklist is the stage reset? Is the port closed? Is the door closed? Is the rope, in this case, not hung up somewhere? And it's just the same for everybody. So fun stage, a lot of fun. The worst part of that one was, we set up everything on Saturday. We had a big windstorm Saturday night, and every wall you've seen in this match was blown down overnight. We had to rebuild everything the day of the match, so not fun. So this, the last stage here is the Classifier. I chose the Classifier and set it up. This is one of the brand new ones, one of the CM13s. I think it's 05. It's called the Roscoe Rattle. No, it's 1304, sorry, the Roscoe Rattle. And this is, it's 2 strings and it's 3 build reels basically. And let's see how that went. This is a facing up range.
Are you ready? Stand by.
So I think this was at 9 yards, and you're standing in the box, facing up range, and the first string is 6 rounds on T2, which is flanked by 2 no-shoots, which come up to the edge of the C-zone. So the whole C-zone is available. And I missed my grip a little bit on that one after the reload, but the string 2 on that one is turn, draw, engage one of either T1 or T3, and then make a mandatory reload, and then engage the other target. So 6 rounds per target, and actually did fairly well on that one. This I was second place out of 18 shooters, and picked up more points than the stage winner. A little bit slower time. He had 7 1/4. I had 9 1/4 seconds. So my stage percentage there was 80%. We'll toggle over right now to the spreadsheet that I'm looking at. We'll just flash this up on the screen here while I'm talking. As you can see here, I've got my stage rankings across the board there. I didn't mention stage 5. I was 4th place on that one. If you come down to the bottom left corner is where I put the overall stats here. I was 4th overall in the match out of 18, 80%, 80.5% there for the match. And my lessons learned here, feeling rusty is the name of the match. And like I said, no doubt, I haven't shot in 3 months, but everyone else must have been in the same boat, because I did not deserve 4th place. I didn't feel like my shooting performance was up to snuff to get 4th place and 80%. That tells me that I think everybody took some time off this winter, because I just made some pretty bad mistakes, pretty bad choices, especially making up that one shot 4 seconds after I should have been done, just adding 4 seconds to the overall time. So and here also in my lessons learned, I did some math on that stage 4, and like I said, if I would have shot it in 17 seconds with the same points and the same penalties, which was none, that would have brought my 4.7 hit factor up to 6.0. And so then, as part of my analysis, I go through that stage and I say, well, what if I had a 6 hit factor versus the 7.9 that the stage winner had, and what would have my stage points have been from that stage? And in this case, it would have added almost 18 more points in stage points, which is, all the stage points add up into how they determine the match winner. So in this case, actually, I would have been 3rd overall in the match instead of 4th. So that's just that one mistake right there. That cost me 1 rank in the overall standings of the match. So that's something to look out for. And when you're shooting, just understand how much time, what the time does to your score, what the points do, just how the scoring system works, and how to best maximize that hit factor on each stage. And that's how you come out. That's how you get your ranking. So hopefully you guys learned something there. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing those videos. It's been a long time since we've been able to post any videos up since we take the winter time off here. But yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Okay, thanks for watching the match video that we just put up, and now I've got a trivia question for you this week. During the chronograph procedure, how many shots are fired over the chronograph, at least during the first round of chronographing? If you pass, how many shots are fired over the chronograph? Pretty simple question. It's in the rule book if you don't know. Most of you guys, if you've been to any kind of a major match, any kind of sectional match, you should have already experienced this. But they pull one bullet, they weigh it, then they fire a group over the chronograph. How many shots over the chrono? And if you get the right answer, all the correct answers that come in over the next week after this airs will be thrown into a hat, and we'll choose at random from all the correct answers to choose a winner. And the winner is going to get Ben Stager's new book, Skills and Drills. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Send your trivia questions to powerfactorshow@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/powerfactorshow. And of course, our website, powerfactorshow.com. And check out the Firearms Radio Network that we're now a part of. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you next week.